I heard my future wife bragging to her friends about trapping a rich simp, so I exposed her and called off the wedding. I 30M always believed I'd found the perfect partner in my fiancée. We met through a mutual friend, and I was drawn to her confidence and charm. Over time, I realized she liked the finer things: designer clothes, luxurious getaways, expensive dinners. But I have a decent job, so I never minded treating her well, thinking it was my way of showing love. Friends teased me for indulging her lavish tastes, calling me too nice sometimes, but I shrugged it off. I trusted her, certain our relationship was built on genuine affection, not just money. We got engaged a few months back. She was thrilled about the ring, the wedding plans, showing off on social media. Typical excitement, or so I thought. I was eager to build a life together, ignoring small hints that she might be more invested in my wallet than in me. Then, one evening, I walked by our bedroom, hearing her on a video call with some of her friends. She hadn't closed the door fully. My name came up, so my curiosity made me pause, listening from the hallway. What I heard punched me in the gut. She referred to me as a total rich simp. My jaw tightened. She was bragging. He'll pay for everything. He's loaded. I can get whatever I want. I'm basically set for life. My heart hammered. She laughed about how I'd never question her spending. How easy it was to trap a gullible guy who can't see the signs. The casual contempt in her voice felt like a slap. She wasn't praising me. She was mocking me for being a soft touch. I froze, numb with betrayal. She'd been telling her friends that once we were married, I'd be stuck paying for her extravagant lifestyle. She joked about how, if I ever dared complain, she'd threaten to call off wedding arrangements and watch me beg. My stomach churned. The woman I'd believed loved me was basically using me. Trembling, I crept away, phone in hand, mind whirling. The only thing I wanted was to gather solid proof of her attitude, so I quietly recorded a snippet of her conversation from just outside the doorway. My father had taught me to rely on evidence when confronting tough matters, no illusions. So, once I had about a minute of her bragging captured, I retreated to the living room, feeling sick and furious. Over the next few days, I pretended everything was normal. She had no clue I'd heard her vile bragging. I'd watch her excitedly flipping through wedding magazines discussing extravagant honeymoon destinations. She'd wink at me, drop hints about a top-tier wedding hall in the city. Each time my anger rose, but I kept a calm front, waiting for the right moment to act. My father always said, "Strike only when you're fully prepared." So I stayed cool, rummaging through my thoughts, deciding how best to reveal her hypocrisy. Eventually it dawned on me, if she was this entitled before marriage, imagine how she'd behave after. The engagement had to end. But I wanted to ensure I walked away with a measure of justice. I planned to expose her scheme to the very people she boasted to, her family, her friends. Let them see who she really was. A week later, we hosted a small dinner at our apartment, inviting her parents and a few close friends. She wanted to finalize wedding details. I saw it as an opportunity. The tension knotted in my chest, but I maintained a pleasant facade. I let her prattle on about floral arrangements and caviar hors d'oeuvres, all while I silently recalled her sneering about having me foot the bill. After everyone ate, I cleared my throat, gathering them in the living room. My fiancée, beaming, assumed I had an announcement about wedding plans. She teased, finally upgrading the venue to a 5-star resort, in a playful tone. I forced a small smile, but inside I was seething. Her father nodded encouragingly, mother smiling at me. I felt a pang of guilt at blindsiding them, but they needed to know. I calmly said, "I've discovered something recently that changed my perspective on this marriage." Confusion flickered across the room. I pulled out my phone, opening the audio clip I'd recorded. My fiancée's eyes flickered with sudden anxiety. Did she sense danger? I pressed play. Her voice filled the space, bragging about me being an easy mark, calling me a rich simp, detailing her plan to keep me paying for everything. The room fell silent, except for the hiss of the recording. Her father's face contorted in shock. Her mother looked at her daughter, eyes wide. As the clip ended, my fiancée leapt up, trying to snatch the phone. "That's personal," she shrieked, cheeks flushing. I snatched it back. "Personal? You boasted about using me as your cash machine. Everyone here needs to hear how you really see me." Her father frowned. "Is this real? You said those words?" She tried stammering excuses. It's out of context. Someone must have doctored it. But no one believed her. The voice was distinctly hers. Her mother started scolding. How could you speak like that about your future husband? Then my fiancé turned on me, hissed that I was invading her privacy by recording. I let out a humorless laugh. Invading your privacy? You were humiliating me behind my back. I have every right to protect myself. Her father looked to her, distraught, asking if she truly meant it. She sputtered. I was just venting, joking with friends. But the arrogance in her recorded tone left little room for misinterpretation. She tried flipping the script. You're the one humiliating me in front of my parents. I cut in. You humiliated me first, bragging about scamming me for money. This wedding is off, effective immediately. Her parents locked eyes, shock dissolving into sorrow. Her mother covered her mouth, eyes glistening with tears. We never raised you to be so manipulative, she whispered to her daughter. Meanwhile, her father apologized to me for her behavior, looking devastated. But my fiancé still tried to salvage it, crying, I was just exaggerating. I do love you. Don't do this. My fury simmered. Love me? You treat me like a piggy bank, mocking me behind my back. That's not love. Her father demanded an explanation for her cruel remarks. Mother tried to hush her meltdown, and my fiancé lashed out in half sobs, half rants. She accused me of overreacting, insisting a single conversation shouldn't derail our future. But my heart had turned cold. I'd seen enough. I calmly told her parents, I'm done. I can't marry someone who calls me a rich simp, who sees me as a means to an end. Her father said to me, eyes downcast, I understand. I'm so sorry, we'll respect your decision. We never wanted a marriage built on greed. My fiancé whirled on him. You're taking his side, I'm your daughter. But her father hissed. You're in the wrong, can't you see that? She hurled a final attempt. Without me, you'll lose your deposits and wedding arrangements. Do you realize the money you'll waste? She tried playing financial fear as a last card. I just shrugged. Better lose some deposit than spend a lifetime with a manipulative partner. She stomped her foot like a petulant child, tears streaking her makeup. I told them all I'd be packing my things. The engagement ring I'd bought was still on her finger. Keep the ring, I said, voice hollow. It means nothing to me now. She ripped it off, slamming it onto the coffee table. Fine, take your worthless ring. Her father flinched at her disrespect. I pocketed it calmly, seeing how little she cared for what should have symbolized our union. As I left the living room, her father tried bridging the tension. Wait, can we talk more privately? But I'd made up my mind. I nodded respectfully. Later, maybe? Right now, I need space. My fiancé glared, half screaming about how I'd regret this. I turned a deaf ear. Grabbing a bag from the closet, I stuffed in some essentials and walked out, ignoring her pleas and curses. Once in my car, adrenaline and heartbreak struck full force. My father, waiting outside, gave me a solemn nod. You did the right thing, he said. I swallowed back tears, revving the engine and driving off into the night, feeling both liberated and shattered. Over the next few days, she tried calling repeatedly. I rarely picked up. When I did, she either sobbed or spat venom, calling me petty for sharing that recording with her family. She whined that her parents scolded her harshly. She was humiliated among friends. You destroyed my reputation, she cried. I calmly reminded her that she destroyed her own reputation by bragging about scamming me. She'd grown accustomed to controlling the narrative, but now it was out of her hands. Mutual friends texted me in shock, some in disbelief that she said such vile things. Others had suspected she was a gold digger but didn't want to stir drama. I assured them I'd keep private matters minimal, but they deserved the truth. I ended the engagement because she was using me. A handful of her more entitled pals attacked me, claiming I violated her privacy. I blocked them. I refused to be their punching bag. Her meltdown continued. She showed up at my workplace once, red-eyed, yelling in the parking lot that I was ruining her life. Security asked her to leave. She tried sending tearful videos, apologizing for harsh words, but all rang hollow. She only expressed regret after being exposed, not because she truly cared. Meanwhile, her father quietly reached out, apologizing again for how she acted. We didn't raise her to behave like this, he lamented. I felt a pang of sympathy for him. He was blindsided too. With the wedding canceled, I began the messy process of calling vendors, explaining the situation. Some deposit money was forfeited, but I'd rather lose a chunk of change than risk a lifetime with someone who saw me as an ATM. A few well-meaning relatives tried urging reconciliation, saying everyone says things they don't mean. But that audio made it clear. She absolutely meant it. She had zero respect for me. One day I heard from a coworker that my ex-fiancé told people I'd been too controlling, that I smothered her, pushing her to talk trash about me. I had no patience for her rewriting history, so I texted her, "Stop lying about me, or I'll release the full clip to everyone. You know what you said, so don't push me." She never responded, but her rumor spreading seemed to subside. Guess she realized I had the receipts. Ultimately, the dust settled. She retreated from social media for a while, likely hoping the scandal would fade. I refocused on my job, embraced a single life free of her manipulations. My father noticed I seemed more relaxed, ironically. That's the twisted upside. Once the heartbreak passed, I felt lighter. Sure, I lost a fiancé, but I dodged a bullet. Her entitlement and cunning nature would have made for a miserable marriage. Now, months later, I'm returning to my routines, spending time with friends, exploring new hobbies, or simply enjoying quiet nights at home without drama. The memory of her brazen bragging stings, but it also reminds me I deserve better. If I'd married her blind, that sense of betrayal would have grown exponentially once money and assets were truly on the line. Some folks ask if I regret leaking the clip. My answer is no. She publicly boasted about me as a rich simp, so I let her own words reveal her true self. She tried to hide behind half-truths, but once her father heard that recording, even he couldn't defend her. Actions have consequences. The wedding's off, she's exposed, and I'm free.